So tell me a little bit about yourself, your name, where you're from, what you do.
So my name is Marieta Oslanec, and I'm originally from Slovakia. And I am immigrant myself, also immigration attorney, business immigration attorney, and business coach.
And so tell me about your immigration story. When did you come here? Why? With who?
So I guess initially it started in 1999 when I was here for 1 year as an exchange student. And that experience already shaped my sort of future, if you know what I mean. And then I decided in 2007 to immigrate by myself with $700 from Slovakia. I was already law school graduate, and I just knew that I didn't want to stay in Slovakia and practice law. So I decided to move here with big dream, temporary visa. And that's how it started.
And what was the most difficult part about coming to the US?
So obviously the challenge is always for people who are trying to come here. I'm talking from the immigration point of view, is how to obtain a green card, how to actually immigrate and become the real immigrant. So for me, back then I had temporary visa, 4-month visa. And the biggest challenge was, apart being far away from family and by myself and experiencing culture shock, and of course not speaking English, but also that challenge of having temporary visa that I had to somehow figure it out. Like, I never wanted to stay here illegally. So for me, that was number one priority. So I basically enrolled to school. I was studying English. Then I applied to law school. After I graduated law school, became licensed attorney in New York. I was again facing the same challenge because my student visa expired at that time. And I couldn't find a sponsor, because typically when you graduate university here, you're looking for the H-1B visa sponsor. In my case, it was very challenging because this was 10 years ago. The market was full of unemployed American lawyers. So I was competing with them, and no law firm would literally sponsor me on the H-1B visa. So I was forced to actually leave the country, and I started my business. I started my law firm, my first law firm, pretty much virtually. It was virtual, so I wanted to practice law, and then I returned back as an investor. So this path, I started to apply and basically teach my clients, mainly entrepreneurs and investors. And eventually I was facing another challenge, like how can I actually become green card holder, right? The resident, in other words, permanent resident. So I had to learn like how to grow my company, how to get myself a green card eventually, so I believe that the immigration system, the way it's set up, it's not really entrepreneur friendly. It is having we do have certain options, but these options are very, very limited. So I was trying to find a path that is very unique and for me, and then eventually out of that difficulty, also many benefits became for my clients, because I was able to actually advise them what to do in similar situation. Not as an immigration attorney only, but also as an immigrant who has done it and as an entrepreneur.
And so what were your expectations or goals coming to the US? And do you think that you fulfilled them?
Oh, 100%. My goal was to become an attorney, to be able to practice law here, and to live here, to become, to live my American dream. So everything what I wanted, I achieved, and I knew it from day one. When I arrived here, I knew that I wanted to go to law school. I knew I wanted to be a lawyer. I knew like I wanted to help other people. And I knew that I wanted to live here permanently. I wanted to make America my home. So yeah, I mean, I believe that every single immigrant that I know, they all have very clear goals, right? So, I mean, you gotta have a very clear goal and stick with it. Otherwise, there is no way you can make it happen, because you just face so many different challenges.
And so now America is your home, but do you stay connected to your culture? And
100%. Yeah, I travel a lot. Like I go home. See, I still call Slovakia home, sort of. My family, my parents are still in Slovakia. So I definitely go to Europe often, once a year, twice a year. I'm definitely connected with that culture. And it's interesting because on one hand, like this is my home, but on the other hand, like I will never be fully 100%. It's a feeling, you know, like you are not, it's almost like you're in between, you know, because once you are born and raised in different culture, and then you move to US, somehow still you are connected with that culture, even though here obviously this country, the beautiful country as it is, it is because beautiful because it's so diverse and we have different cultures here, but still it's always there, that connection with your country where you were born and raised. So
And has immigrating changed your mindset or perspective on the world at all?
100%. It is definitely something that is going to train your mindset. Like as an immigrant, you are forced to overcome yourself over and over again. And what do I mean by that is that you have to change your mindset all the time. You just cannot afford to be negative in any way, because if you're facing challenges that look like it's impossible, you know, the only way for you to make it is to, number one, have a very strong positive mindset. So in fact, that's a very good question, because I evolved as a human during the past 15 years because I am immigrant, you know, so it helped me in every area of my life. And definitely.
And so you do a lot of spiritual work. What is your
Mhm.
passion in life and how did this come to be?
So it's all connected, you know. My spiritual awakening, if you will, started as a result of experiencing difficulties, right, on my path. So this was 8 years ago, actually. Yeah, 8 years ago, almost 9 years ago, when I already had law firm with, back then, my business partner, and that company actually collapsed. Like our relationship, we also were in a relationship, and that relationship didn't work out. So my personal life collapsed at the same time that business collapsed. So I was forced to reinvent myself. And that sort of started my spiritual awakening journey. And I feel like it's all connected, because that spiritual awakening usually happens to people who are going through challenging times. So if you are actually experiencing challenges, it's usually it will follow up with for some people with spiritual awakening. So absolutely, it is because of my journey that I was forced to find the answers within. Because at some point you can't blame outside circumstances. You have to really go within you and do the work, the inner work, that is going to at some point awaken you more and more. So it happened as a byproduct of my journey, for sure.
And so you wrote a book. Tell me about it. What inspired you to write it? What is it about? What
Yeah.
was that like?
Yes. So the book is basically, it's called Love is the Law. And I don't talk about romantic love. This is more the energy frequency. And it talks about 21 universal laws, how you can activate your genius. So you can literally live your American dream and do whatever you want and be whoever you want to be. So the book basically came to me. You know, I wasn't really planning to write the book. The book, it just came as a stream of consciousness, inspiration, if you know what I mean. And that inspiration, this was 7 years ago, when I just felt that I need to start typing this content that came through me. And I knew that I wanted to help people. I knew that I wanted to help women who are going through similar difficulties. You know, I was heartbroken, financially broken. I was starting my business. I felt like my whole life collapsed, and I was looking for the answers, right? So this is sort of a blueprint for people who are facing challenges and they want to find a way to basically be able to build their life of their dreams. And it all starts with, I believe, loving who you are first. So that book is sort of a blueprint that helped me to put my life together. And then as a result, now it's helping other people too.
And what is the biggest thing you want your audience or viewers to take away from your journey and your book?
So the biggest thing is that if you have a dream or any kind of desire, and you feel that, especially something that you feel it's there calling you, right? And you are like suppressing it, I don't know, this is maybe your ego is telling you, I don't know if I can do it, right? But that burning desire is within you, or this calling to do whatever that is, if it's to immigrate to US or to different country, or to start a business, or break up from that relationship that is not working for you, or whatever, just follow it, because it's going to be there until you do it. And this is something that I learned. I always knew like I wanted to immigrate. This was something I always felt. And then I had different callings, but I was kind of ignoring them, right? Like, for example, with the book, like I wrote a book, but then I was hiding the book. I didn't want to publish it, right? I was like, I'm fine. I just want to, run my business, my law practice. I don't need to do anything with spirituality. However, it was a calling, right? So whatever your calling is, your desire is there for a reason. I truly believe that it's our job to follow our heart and just go for it. Because if you don't do it, you're going to self-sabotage your happiness, and you won't ever be happy or fulfilled. In other words, you are living fake life. So the only way to go through it is just to do it and follow it.
I think that's an amazing message. Thank you for sharing. And so, what are you proudest of, or what is the most rewarding part of this spiritual work?
Wow, this is a hard question. What's the most rewarding part? I think it's to be. I think to live my I mean to live my path. Like to really be aligned with my mission, and as a result to actually feel fulfilled. And even though life is not perfect, it's never going to be perfect. We are experiencing challenges because we are growing through that. Still, when you are aligned and you are on your path, it's almost like effortless living, if you know what I mean. So life is different when you are actually coming from the place of abundance versus scarcity. And usually the abundance is when you are aligned with your soul mission. So I think also what's rewarding is that you listen to your intuition more. And as a result, you make better choices and decisions. And in other words, you live your life effortlessly. You don't struggle so much. And that is the biggest difference. If I look back and I see myself, especially those years, the beginning of my immigrant journey, it was more like push and pull, like I was just forcing things. Like I knew I had to make it happen, just like majority of immigrants. We are forced to make things happen because you don't want to leave. You don't want to go back to your country, right? Like you don't want to just give up on your dream. So you kind of like struggle. And on the other hand, there is a better way to live your life. And I feel like now, after years of actually, living in this country, and I can see that the better way is that way when you actually align with your true path. And I'm not saying it wasn't my path, but it's just like I realized that you can live more effortlessly, and I'm talking whether it's your family or it's your friends or clients, or your business, whatever, even money, it all can be created when you come from that place of connection with your higher self.
And so you're also really involved in the legal field. What initially drew you to law?
Yeah, so I'm both. Like I said, like I wrote a spiritual book, but I do also coaching, and then I have my law firms, and in my law firm I focus on helping entrepreneurs, immigrant entrepreneurs. That's kind of my niche. And initially, because I did 2 law schools, right? Like one was back in Slovakia. I believe like I was always inspired by justice and fairness. and I wanted to have certain power to change things, right? And I believed back then that if I become a lawyer, I can do that. Eventually, I evolved into, through my journey within immigration, and helping mainly entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs are, in my opinion, um, the, the the innovation and the creativity behind immigration itself. So I just love working with people who are outside of the box thinkers, people who are different. And so I found my niche based on my struggle, right? Because my struggle was that I couldn't find the employer. So I was like, screw this, I'm actually doing it myself. So I started my business, and that's exactly the path. Like I started to help other people. So yeah, everything really what I do, it is out of the struggle I've been through. And I was, in other words, I was able to turn the lemons into lemonade, if you know what I mean. So really that was the reason why. Now, initially, the real reason I started actually, and I went to become a lawyer, was because my dad is an entrepreneur, and I'm from Slovakia. Slovakia is post-communist country, right? So I was born in communism, and I witnessed my father building a business when I was 6 years old. And then I witnessed how this business collapsed. And it wasn't because he wasn't, successful entrepreneur or capable entrepreneur. It was because of the legal system in Slovakia that it wasn't working. So that was really my why behind why I wanted to become a lawyer, because it was really like triggering me. And yeah, so that was the main reason. And again, like you start with certain why, and then sort of the why will evolve over the time.
And so you have your own business helping immigrants. And what does a day-to-day look like? What do you do? What services do you offer? What methods do
Right.
you take in your work?
So I offer, like I already mentioned, I have the coaching business. The coaching business is helping female entrepreneurs mainly to really grow the companies that are purpose-driven, conscious. And this can be anything from usually service-based. Like if you have a passion, we turn that passion into profit. We actually turn it into business. And this is coaching based. So in other words, I have coaching calls. Right now I don't do any retreats, but at some point I want to start doing retreats for women entrepreneurs. Then I have obviously the legal business, where I help entrepreneurs, usually people who want to start businesses in the US and they want to get E2 investor visa, right? So we build the businesses and we also get them E2 investor visa status. And some of them then want to grow the companies and scale them and apply for a green card through entrepreneurship. So this is basically what I do. I don't do any other things like within immigration. I decided 8 years ago that this is going to be my niche. So that's what I do. And I love to work with immigrant entrepreneurs. I just love it because I believe that through them, as they are creating exciting businesses, we can actually change the world. Like me helping these people to really turn their passion into profit, I'm helping them to live their dream, and that's how we are changing humanity. So it has a deeper purpose.
That's great. And where do you see yourself going with this in the future?
We'll see. Let's see. Ask me in 5 years.
And
I mean, I certainly have a vision, but I keep it for myself. And then, I rather deliver and experiencing it in reality, and then I can share the information.
that's fair enough. That's
Yeah.
good enough on its own. And what do you think constitutes as success in your field?
I think, well, that's a good question. So what it is definitely, in my opinion, is to do things that you are passionate about and to be able to create impact. So these two things. And of course, you want to monetize your passion. Like if you're just, starting out as an entrepreneur, immigrant entrepreneur, and you're struggling, or you are not able to monetize it, that's also a challenge. You should definitely look into, how you can improve that business model maybe. But definitely if you have a business that you're not passionate about, or you are not creating impact, or you're not helping people, I don't think that's necessarily a success.
And so, what advice would you give to someone who's looking to immigrate to the US?
So I would definitely tell them that if it's obviously it's not easy to immigrate, like it's nice to dream about it, but another thing is to actually take action and just do it. Two different things. But if you really, really, really want it, go for it, because I truly believe that anything is possible if you do whatever it takes and if you have that persistence. So sometimes it might take some time, right? Like what I'm sharing here today took me 15 years, right? It didn't happen overnight, even though I share it in 30 minutes, right? But down the road, like if you truly believe in that why, like why you want to immigrate, get really clear why you want to immigrate. And once you have that conviction, like you just know that you will make it happen, absolutely you will find a way. Like you just focus on the next step and the next step, and then just go for it and have the mindset all the way. Like you need to have that mindset, because like people will most likely tell you it's a stupid idea, or who do you think you are, right? Especially if you are back home and you know, you share this with other people tell you, look at you like you're crazy. So don't listen to naysayers, like just follow your heart and do whatever you can and never give up, even though you feel like giving up, because there will be moments when you feel like, actually this is so difficult, like I don't know how I can manage this. So just go for it no matter what, and you will find a way.
Do you think that the eagerness to immigrate is a gut feeling or more of a deliberate or irrational thought?
Oh, I love this question. I think personally it's gut feeling, it's intuition, even though it might look like, you know, from the outside that basically it looks like, you know, you are triggered by the situation in your country or something in your country or wherever you are right now, and whatever the motivation for you to immigrate, it might look logical, but deep down I feel like those immigrants who make it happen, it's deeper than that, you know what I mean? Like for me 100% it was intuition. Like I knew, like I just felt it, like if I don't immigrate, it felt like I'm gonna die in Slovakia, you know. But like when you logically look at it, like of course I wouldn't die, like nothing would happen. It wasn't like Slovakia was communism, you know what I mean? I mean, I still was a lawyer, I mean, it wasn't that bad, but I just knew energetically, like if I stay there, if I put the energy into something, it would just disappear like a black hole. So I knew I had to like get out. And if you have that kind of feeling of suffocation, that is usually the driving force behind it. So I guess it's probably a combination of both. But because I do believe in intuition, which is the guidance from your higher self all the time, guiding you where you need to go, where you really belong, I think it's more intuitive, gut feeling.
And what do you wish more people knew about immigrants?
Well, I think they should know that immigrants are amazing people that are facing so many different challenges, and we should all admire them for being brave, because many times, like in my case, my motivation wasn't so dramatic, right? But there are some people who immigrate here because they don't really have a choice, and it's really life and death question. So for them it's just incredibly difficult. So I would never judge immigrants and don't discriminate immigrants, but really admire them, because these are people who are facing challenges that it's hard to even understand unless you go through it.
And last question, are you proud to be an immigrant?
100%, I'm so proud. Definitely.
All right, great. That was all the questions. So now I'll start recording.